time, weather, and always class.
Breath control and bad decisions. It's our game. With Gen X and Salty J, we'll shout it loud. A celebration of life. Come join the crowd.
Video killed the radio star and gave us better hair. Welcome to Breath Control and Bad Decisions, a Gen X podcast. I am your host, Gen X, and this is my co-host,
Salty J.
How's it going, Salty J?
It's going good. I'm excited about this episode.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. I had a lot of fun writing this one. I like this is my wheelhouse, and I had a lot of fun doing this one. So I hope that everybody finds this entertaining and maybe learn something some things you maybe didn't already know. So we'll go ahead and let's get into it. It's August 1st, 1981. Gas is cheap. Hair is feathered, somewhat big, but hair is definitely feathered. And somewhere in America, guy's about to sit down and watch music. Watch music. Watch music. On purpose. Like, seriously, he's going to watch music. Because on August 1st, 1981, MTV launches. And I think we all remember that music.
As 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15, 14, 13, T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. We've gone for main engine start. We have main engine start.
Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll.
Does everybody recognize that sound?
I do.
Everybody,
All right.
if you heard it and you recognize it, you know the flag being planted on the moon, and you can see the MTV, and you can see the colors, and you can see it going all over the place. And it's such a memory. It's such a memory. And I remember when that launched, and I remember I was 10. This massive thing launched. We all knew it was coming, but we weren't sure what to expect. So at 12:01 a.m., MTV launched, and it was nothing. It was nothing about music or fashion would ever be the same after that. And they opened with, Salty J, do you know what they opened with?
It was Video Killed the Radio Star, right?
Yes. And
Yeah.
I mean, what a great song to open with. What a great song. And the video was good. I mean, it was great, really, for the time. When you look at it now, you're like, okay. It was such a good song. And I love that song. I really do. I just, it's so ethereal. It wasn't subtle, but it was definitely accurate. And you know what? It didn't kill radio. Radio's still here. So it didn't kill the radio star. Probably made him a lot better looking, though. Right?
Yeah. And, it brought about more creativity to add to music, too, because then you have, like, the fashion choices, these wild videos, and it brought it together where you had a better understanding of the message artists were giving sometimes when you watch the
Yeah.
video.
Yeah. And, the fashion choices were definitely choices. But then what happened to us is that we all decided that we needed to dress like that, too. And before MTV, to discover new music and kind of track down what the artist looked like you had to go buy the album, right? And then hope they had photos of them. Because sometimes they didn't. And you were like, well, I don't know what they look like. That's disappointing. Now you could see what they looked like. But discovering new music required so much effort. We had to listen to the radio. We had to wait for a song that you liked. If you knew if you had songs that you liked, you had to wait for your song to come on. But in the middle of that, while you're waiting, you were listening to stuff that hopefully you liked, right? You would discover new stuff. Maybe you wrote it down so you'd remember what it was and who the artist was. But then once you had that information, then what did you do with it? Go to the record store and be like, well, maybe I'll like the album. Because back then, when you went to the record store, you couldn't listen to it before you bought it. So you're either stuck with an album full of garbage that you hated except for one song, or you just didn't buy it.
Yeah, I mean, it turned into like this music discovery engine. Before we
Yeah.
had all the computer stuff or, the movie soundtracks we had, but this was like you're listening and it's showing everything of your genre. I loved Yo MTV Raps. I'd get home from school and I knew every rap song because that's the part I was listening to.
Yeah, and
So,
then I think that introduced that genre to a whole bunch of people. I remember it was on after school when I would come home when they introduced it, and, before that, music videos existed, but they were really just they were the music industry's version of, "Let's try this out and see if anybody cares." At the time, nobody did because there wasn't a medium for it. Where are you putting where are you putting that? Where are you gonna show this? It was on maybe Old Grey Whistle Test or, a variety show or something. Maybe they'd play it in the background. And then cable TV showed up and was like, "You know what? What if we filled 24 hours with, anything?" And Warner Amex Satellite went, "Hold my beer. I got a great idea. A channel that just plays music videos all day, every day."
it was
Sounds
genius.
normal. Yeah, it sounds normal now, but at the time, can you imagine being in the room with that pitch? What
Yeah,
if we
you're
made a
gonna
channel that showed
see music.
Yeah. What if you made a channel that shows only weather? What? That exists? What? I think there's 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, what about sports? Yeah.
Yeah. God, how many sports channels only are there? But so they did that too. Nobody knew that it would work. If it would work. It did. At midnight, the screen flickered and a rocket launched.
It felt like the channel of our generation. Like, it
Mhm.
not only went from music, but they started showing TV shows, Spring Break, how you put it? It was a role model of what we thought our life should be
Yeah.
like
Well,
partying at the beach or
it
I
was
did.
I remember the shuttle launches, they play that guitar clip as that's MTV music, that's how we all know it, and then I think it was Mark Goodman just says, "Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll," and then now it's history there was history made. MTV doesn't even exist anymore, and they stopped playing music videos decades ago. They started to suck decades ago. The first video aired, Video Killed the Radio Star. Bold claim for a song that most people wouldn't even know if it wasn't because of MTV, right?
Yeah,
And
for sure.
almost nobody even saw it because it was only available in a few cable markets, mostly in New Jersey. So, congrats, New Jersey. You accidentally witnessed history while looking for something else to watch, which is totally on brand for Jersey. Early MTV was definitely creative. Because there weren't a lot of videos, they just played the same ones over and over and over. Which was nice because if you liked the song, you'd see it repeatedly. You didn't have to sit by the radio and be like, they'll play this in this hour. And I remember when they would, at the top of the hour, they do that launch. The rocket would launch at the top of every hour. They plant the flag on the moon. The MTV logo would flash, and then it would say, "Coming up this hour." So you knew who was coming. You knew who they're gonna be playing. For me, I'd have the VCR tape ready to go. I'd have it ready to hit record when that came on. I always
It's
appreciated they gave you the
also
heads up.
it's kinda kismet that this is our episode after talking about the Challenger and then this
Yeah.
launching, but
Yeah, well, we're kinda tying it together, I guess. That was unintentional,
we
it's
needed
completely
some
unintentional.
levity, like,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
it's a beautiful story for a whole generation, and so many good things came out of it, like, acoustic music is so much more popular after
Mhm.
MTV.
So do you remember that show, The Young Ones?
I
It was
don't.
British it was British comedy, it was on I think it started off on Sunday nights, and it was hilarious, and it was 4 college guys who lived in a house, and it was just silly British humor, but it was funny, and they always had a musical. Somehow they always a musical act always kind of fit into the episode. The episodes were all irreverent, all hilariously stupid, and it was such a good show. I remember I think it finally switched maybe to Saturday nights. No, I think it was always on Sundays. But then I think they would replay it during the week during, like, regular daytimes. Because I remember I watched it, and I know I wasn't up late Sunday night watching it because I had school the next day.
Yeah.
That show was so, so good. But I know
I've
you don't like Monty Python, so you probably wouldn't like it, but I know there's a whole bunch of other people out there who absolutely loved it.
and appreciated it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I was more of a Jackass and the
Oh, you're a
Osbournes.
oh,
I am, and Punk'd,
yeah.
and, a lot of people watched Laguna Beach, which I didn't love,
That's when they started playing, like, shows. I was definitely
like
out of
the
it by that
reality
time.
TV.
Yeah, it
See, I
got
was still in the thick of it.
Yeah, well, you were still, at that like, right at that age, right?
Oh,
Do you remember when MTV used to have those giveaways, like, the contests that were, like
yes.
they had one with John Cougar, and they were giving away a house in Indiana, and at the end of the commercial, it was John Cougar and a bunch of people going, "And then we're gonna paint the mother pink." because it was pink houses. I remember I was too young to enter those contests, but I remember thinking, "Oh, that'd be so cool to win a house." And they had these amazing contests. To this day, I can't tell you any of the other ones. That's the only one I remember. It's just I don't know why that sticks in my head. It just does. But I remember thinking, when I get old enough, I'm going to enter those contests, and then I never did.
I think I
Watching
remember,
watching music was great.
yeah, and the videos like that. Do you remember Simply Irresistible and like their hair's all slicked back with the
Uh-huh.
red lipstick and stuff like that just really stuck with me. How artistic is that?
Yeah, and I mean, Thriller. Michael Jackson is
Oh my
making
god,
a movie, for God's sake. An
I still
amazing one
love
that
that
and
dance.
I remember they would do these world launches of these videos, and that was one of them. And I think it came on they did it after like, right after school, so all the school kids would be home to watch it, and I remember that. Madonna looked different every time you turned around. Every video was different. She would look, "That doesn't look like okay, now she looks like this." And Duran Duran would just be on a yacht or in the jungle. They didn't always fit the song, but it didn't matter. Like, I will say, okay, the Rio and the Hungry Like the Wolf, those 2 videos kind of fit the theme of the song. But I mean, if you've ever watched the remake or the Van Halen's cover of Pretty Woman, if you've ever watched that video, it's ridiculous. It makes no sense. It's so fucking stupid. If you've never seen it, go YouTube watch it. Go hate watch it. Just go hate watch it.
To watch it. I can't remember that one, but I remember
Julie. Oh, it's bad. So bad.
I remember that Michael Jackson, I think it was Billie Jean. It was like they made a big deal. It was the first African American on MTV. Pretty sure it was Billie Jean that they showed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so he was kind of like a trailblazer and
Absolutely.
Thriller was probably one of the best videos I've ever seen in my life.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And it told a whole story. It's funny, we both talk about how we hate musicals, but I freaking loved music
But
videos.
but music videos are songs. It's not a musical. You're not sitting down watching a TV episode, and then everybody's suddenly bursting into song about something ridiculous and then going back to it. We were listening to music, but we were watching it on the screen, hoping to catch a glimpse of what our favorite artist looked like, or, did they look
Yes,
good
what they
that
were
day,
wearing.
or what they were wearing. Then think of all the girls who dressed like Madonna. All of the girls
Yeah.
in school just started to dress like Madonna. And, the guys that dress like the guys in the hair bands, or, the girls who dress like Pat Benatar. And, we all wanted to try the outfits, and we all wanted to dress like that if we could. We didn't judge much.
Please tell me
You
you
just
had a
tried to
pair of
copy it.
parachute pants.
Of course I did. My brother had a pair of, like, blue parachute pants, and I had a pair of black parachute pants, and, like, everybody in high school had parachute pants. And I can't even tell you where they started. I don't know where we all saw them, but all of a sudden we all had parachute pants.
Michael Jackson. Yeah.
I mean, you see it and all of a sudden it's a thing, and that's these fashion choices where everybody, I gotta have that. They're wearing that,
The
and I need to
Adidas
have that.
windbreaker suits.
Mhm.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah, and
It was
it
awesome.
slowly started to become, was music more image than talent? Because you had
It
an image
did.
to project on the TV, and then not everyone looks good in eyeliner, but suddenly that mattered for some reason. I don't know why, but it did, because we wanted to like what we saw, and somewhere along the way, MTV just they changed. It got to be less music and more shows, and then reality TV entered, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I wanna talk some about some of the shows they had, and you touched on it, about the spring break shows, because they were down by where you lived. So that was a big part
Yeah, we used to
of
go there.
your yeah, you wanted to be a part of that, and for me, just watching it, I was like, "That's so many people, but it looks fun." 'Cause back then, I
Oh,
was, teenager, it looked fun.
Panama City is a tiny town, and
Mhm.
there was one main drag strip that would get backed up, so you would drive 2 miles an hour down the strip, and everybody would hang out in the back of trucks, drinking alcohol, meeting, talking to each other. Half the people I met was just in traffic
Yeah.
trying to get to Club La Vila, and, yeah, there are some great memories. We were at the bar, and the bartender stands up and he says, "Free drinks for the night for the best fake ID." And about 100 people hand him their driver's license, and then he runs away, and people are like, "That was my
Oh,
real
that's
driver's
genius.
license," and
That's
they were
gen
like, "Tough."
Teenagers are so
It was
dumb.
absolutely
Teenagers are so
genius,
dumb.
but they were like, "Tough titty, we asked for the fake ones," and
That's
they just
right.
took off, which I thought was amazing. I remember I was pretty young when I started going, and I remember the wet t-shirt contests and thinking,
Mhm.
"When I get older, I'm gonna do that," and I never did, thank
When I
God,
get older, I can't wait to do that.
with
That
my
is
little
not a thing
nipples
you
and
usually
ribs back
hear.
then.
That's not a thing you usually hear, like, kids say. "I wanna do that."
Well, I think I was, like, 16, and I was like, "When I turn 18, I'm gonna win that thing." And then when I turned 18, I was like, "You will not catch me out there. It is not gonna happen."
It's so like, there's that frontal lobe development going on, right? That we talked about a couple
Yes.
episodes ago. It's that frontal lobes hadn't developed yet. You're like, "That'd be fun, I'm gonna do that," and then you get to a certain age, you're like, "Fuck that, what was I thinking? I'm not gonna do that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I respect
Thank
myself."
God I didn't do that. But,
Right?
they also that was the start of, like, Girls Gone Wild and those videos too.
Oh
Um,
god. I
yeah.
They did so when I got to be older, they started doing the metal show at midnight on Saturday nights. God, I wanna call it Metal Mayhem, but that's what it's called now on VH1. Crap. Headbangers Ball. It was Headbangers Ball, and I remember every Saturday night coming home and being like, because usually when you'd get home that late, there would be nothing on TV. There was just nothing on TV. Now, I could get home on a Saturday night and be like, "Headbangers Ball is on. Hell yeah." And I would just sit in front of that TV for 2 hours, 2, 3 hours, however whatever, but based on depending on whatever time I got home, watch Headbangers Ball, because that was the only time you'd really see more of the heavier stuff. Now, I'm not talking about you would see some hair metal during the day, some, but not a lot. It was mostly during that time frame, and you would see more risque style videos because believe it or not, MTV had standards. I know, I can't believe it either, but they did. I mean, hell, the video for Queen's "I Wanna Break Free," which was based on the English show Coronation Street, and they were all dressed in drag. MTV banned it because America was so uptight about it because they didn't fucking get it. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you watch that video now and it's a scream. It's hilarious. So you'd see a little more risque stuff, you'd see heavier stuff. So, I mean, I remember God, I remember Headbangers Ball. I mean, it was such a yeah, I don't wanna say groundbreaking show, it wasn't, it was just, here's where you could actually see hard rock, heavy metal, hair metal, and you didn't there wasn't any fluff in between it. There wasn't Pet Shop Boys wasn't played in between it. It was just boom, metal all the way through, and you could hear stuff that you didn't hear in the mainstream, you know?
I think I felt the same way about the grunge music. I can
Yeah,
remember the first time I saw Nirvana on there, just sitting there singing acoustic, and it was just incredible.
yeah,
And I think that's where I first got my love of acoustic music. And,
mhm,
yeah, and then, the Yo MTV Raps, that was more my thing, but it would it would have people doing these dances, and I would be home practicing these dances,
yeah.
and I think I was probably in the best shape of my life. Well,
We all
until my early 20s when I was running up and down the stairs at the hospital all the time, I was probably a little bit better shape, but, yeah, it was fun, and I don't regret anything I learned from MTV or experienced because of MTV. Jackass, they were a bunch of dumb idiots that did things
yeah.
that they totally could have hurt themselves, but I've laughed so hard and learned what not to do, and, I don't know. I think it's a great thing that has helped raise us and make us keep humor and levity and appreciate art.
Yeah. Well, for me, back then being a budding musician and just really, I mean, I lived in that world. It was just I had MTV on constantly, constantly. I'm sure it was very annoying for my parents, but when they were home, I didn't, they were watching TV, I didn't have it on. But I mean, I always had it on, and I remember like I would go back and forth saying, "Do I want to be a rock star? Or do I want to be a VJ?" Because a VJ would be really cool. They get to meet rock stars, and they don't have to tour all the time, and they don't have to worry about these things. And I remember at Christmas time, they would always have a Christmas party in the studio, and they would have, like, then they had Bryan Adams in one year, and they were all singing "Having a Reggae Christmas," which you can go YouTube and you would like that song, Julie.
I would
You can go to YouTube and you could pull that up, and it was a really good song, it was really well done. They were having a fun Christmas party in the studio. They did Billy Squier, and he did "Christmas Is the Time to Say I Love You," and you could see them all just having fun, and it looked amazing. It looked so much fun. You were like, I wanna do that. Yeah, I wanna be a VJ. You could get to hang out with these people and meet these people, and then, obviously that never
so that
happened,
was
but
like, Carson Daly and Downtown Julie Brown and stuff, right? Like,
For
they would
you,
be considered VJs?
yes, yes, that would have been
My
your era.
genre or my age, yeah,
Yeah, that would have been, like, when probably when you started to watch, like, Downtown Julie Brown was came on when I was still teenager-ish, but for me, it
yeah.
was Mark Goodman and JJ Jackson, Anita Blackwood, and Alan Hunter, and Martha Quinn. That was it,
You
and
have a good memory.
they were all so good at their jobs. They were all so good at it. They were I can't imagine the interview process to get that job, but they mean they all were just amazing. And then later years, they brought some new VJs on. And I remember when Headbangers Ball first debuted, they had Adam Curry, who he just happened to have a little bit long hair. It was like shoulder length, but like long for a dude, I guess by their standards. And so they just slapped a leather jacket on him and had him be the host. And you could tell he was really uncomfortable doing it for a while. It was just like, okay, he doesn't really seem like he's comfortable doing this show at all. He was a good VJ, but then he tried really, really hard to do that show, and he did a decent enough job. But then they brought in Ricky Rackman, who actually knew what the hell he was talking about because he knew these people, he knew these artists. He'd grown up, LA Strip and Sunset Strip and all that stuff. He knew all the artists from that particular genre, so it made it more believable, and it was, "Okay, I can relate. This guy knows what he's talking about when he's interviewing a band. When he's interviewing Motley Crue, he knows what he's asking them, and he knows what he's talking about, so he knows how to do a good interview." So they finally found the right host for that, as they did with MTV Raps and, remember when 120 Minutes debuted, that was all, like, alternative and grunge, they
Yes, I do
I
remember
think
that.
yeah, um, and that was, again, them highlighting that particular kind of music, and
And
those shows mattered.
the Total Request Live, I used to
Mhm.
love that because it
Yeah.
felt more interactive,
Mhm.
and then I feel like that's when reality TV kicked off with MTV.
Yeah, because they had the
I
real what's that's when it started with The Real World.
Yes, yeah, and what was the one with, like, Snooki and all them later? I didn't really get into that, but that was a big show.
That was Jersey Shore, but
Yeah,
by that time, I
I
was
was
well done with it. I was well done with MTV because
same.
they weren't playing music and they were just playing this shit. I mean, it was literal shit. Now, I will say the first, iteration of The Real World was good, and it was at the time, they had one of the people on it had HIV, and he later, died from it, but you got to see into that world firsthand, and it was very well done. Like, that whole first season of The Real World was very good, and then it just got ridiculous because they just got instead of having normal people on like they did on the first 1 or 2 seasons, then they just were looking for outrageous people who just wanted to be on TV and would give them drama.
Yeah,
It's they did some good things, but then they
deviant,
changed, and it just became, well, where did the music go? Like,
yeah.
where did it go? You just stopped playing it entirely, and then earlier this year, MTV was just like, "Nope, we're no longer on the air," and it was like, "Good, because 'cause you're terrible now. You've been terrible for decades. You've been showing the trashiest of trash TV instead of music." There are still artists who are making music. Why are you showing music videos now? But times changed. And I think we're really lucky that our generation grew up with that. We got to experience the launch of music videos. We got to sit and watch the TV, sit in that glow, just mesmerized by
With, like, the newness and the wonder.
just yeah, like I don't even have words. I really don't even have words. I just think we're very lucky. We were very lucky to exist at a time when Warner Amex was like, "Let's just play music videos all day. Let's see how that goes." And our generation went, "Yeah, that's great." Being able to see the band that you love, just being able even if it was a live video or a concert video or something, just being able to be part of that and witness that, and I think it also made us feel closer to that band, right? Not in a parasocial relationship type of way, just in I feel like they're reachable, right? Like this music seems more accessible to me because I can see it now. It's in front of me, and I'm enamored by it.
Well, and then after the music videos, they went into Yo MTV Cribs, and they would take you into the houses of all these famous people, and that
Here,
was
let's show the
so fun
poors
to
how the
me.
rich people live.
I actually loved that show and looked at it like goals, but what I took from it was people would do things that they wanted specific to them, and I still kinda
Yes.
live by that. Like, I have a room that should probably be like a formal living room that's
Mhm.
got a big weight set in it. Cause why? That's what I want there.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just
this is
people.
it was always interesting to see their houses and to see what they had, to see their style. I think that was it. You wanted to see their style. Like, if you come into so this room is just where I record. This has most of my music stuff in it. My walls are covered in, concert posters and ticket stubs and, stretch canvases I've got a lot of Queen on stretch canvas. I've got a drum head from my friend Matt when he was playing drums for Ace Frehley. I've got that. I've got drumsticks from Matt. This is you don't see that in any other part of my house because this is my recording space, my recording area. And,
Yeah.
it's similar to MTV Cribs, it's just not as rich.
Well, it's like,
I
what
just
would
I
I
just don't
do?
have the money, but when you come into this room, you can tell, like, this is me. It's
Your
very,
space.
very obvious my space.
Well, I feel like people with more money, they make it more their space, customized
Yeah.
refrigerators that match
Yeah.
the cabinets and the special fish tanks that are bigger than the ones at SeaWorld. Yeah, I
Yes.
loved watching every bit of it. And
Yeah.
then I also really appreciated watching the Osbournes, and it was hilarious because my grandmother, who was very Christian, did not cuss, did not drink, absolutely loved watching it with me.
Yeah.
And
That's
she would tell
cool.
me
See,
how cute
it
Kelly
brought people
was.
together. It brought people together.
It did, and, they tried to villainize him, like he bites the heads off of birds or whatever, but then all of a sudden he's a loving father that,
Yeah, you see
and
him and you're like, "He's just a normal dude." Like, I remember and I wanna say
human.
it was like 80 I wanna say 86-ish, 85-ish, they were doing an interview with him on MTV. He was making breakfast. He was trying to, because it was when he was still pretty addicted, and you could very clearly tell. But he was just at home in a normal kitchen that you and I have.
Mhm.
It wasn't anything fancy, and there he was cooking breakfast, and he was pouring orange juice, and it was so funny, he was going all over the place, and he was smoking cooking, smoking, but having a normal conversation, and I mean a normal conversation for Ozzy. But watching that, again, you were like, "He's a normal human. These are normal
It makes
people
you feel closer.
doing normal things." Exactly. Again, that's what I mean when I say makes them feel like they're more accessible because you
Yeah.
realize celebrities, they're just like us. Like they do normal things. That to see Ozzy Osbourne cooking breakfast in a regular sized kitchen that was your standard U shape, it's got the sink from here and then the stove and then back here is, shell or cabinets, and it was white. This was like white tiled counter, and there's Ozzy cooking breakfast. Nothing fancy, no big fancy stove, no normal kitchen, and you're like, look, all right, Ozzy's a normal, and it's brightly lit. He's not wearing all black. He was wearing like I want to say he was wearing a leopard print bathrobe, but that could be my brain putting that in there. But I know he was wearing a bathrobe. I remember that. Wear a bathrobe, smoking a cigarette, cooking breakfast, pouring orange juice, getting it all over everything. But they interviewed people that we had never heard talk before, right?
You feel like you're around their family so much. It's almost like when he died, I felt like I had almost lost an uncle. Like,
Yeah.
I was
And
raised
and
around him.
right, it's here's the thing about, like, our generation, it's like now the people that we grew up with who were rock stars and celebrities and etcetera, they're getting older, and we're witnessing that in real time, and we're witnessing their passing, and, when I was a teenager, an Ozzy Osbourne video, you know, no time did you think Ozzy wasn't going to be here. You just
Yeah.
you don't have that sense of mortality back then. You don't. You're
Speaking
watching
of
these people
which,
who were larger than life, and now they're gone.
this was a crazy story. It's not quite TV related, but it's related to the subject. The day that Prince died, I was giving blood, and I got on the big red bus, and the lady was prepping me, and she says, "How's your day going?" And I said, "I just feel kind of sad. I heard Prince died today." And she said, "Oh my God." And she ran straight off the bus and didn't come back. So about 15 minutes later, like, I finally
She
flagged down another worker,
He
And I
didn't
was
come
like,
back.
"She didn't." And I was like, "Is she related? Is that like his aunt? What just happened here?" And so another person
This
had to
seems
hook up
highly
my bag and
unprofessional.
everything. You just mentioned that, and I thought about the lady that ran off when I told her prince died. I don't know if she like, I mean, she took it so hard. I don't know if she really
It's
was related or what,
I
but
mean, it hit me hard too. I remember I was at work and, you know, people of my generation that were talking, we were like, "Oh my god," we just like it had just been reported, and I had a colleague who was 18 years my junior, who it didn't even phase her. Didn't even phase her. She was like, "Whatever. I mean, drugs will do
yeah,
that to you." And I'm like, "You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Shut up." And just carried on about her day while the rest of us were just devastated. This is an icon
yeah.
to us, you know?
But he's also human who dealt with hip pain and everything else from
When
damage
you
to his
well, that's the
body.
thing, when you think about all that stuff and you think about you go back and you watch his videos, you see him jumping around and dancing and all these amazing, amazing moves that he was doing,
And
and that
heels.
as right, in heels, and now as an adult, you see that and you go, all of that contributed to his passing because he was in so much pain from doing all of these things. We don't know how he took care of his body outside of a concert. We have no idea. We're not privy to that. So when you watch that now, it's almost kind of sad because at the time you enjoyed the hell out of it. You're like, look at the show this guy puts on. And then decades later, you're degenerative hip disease and he's got all these he's got all of this pain because of that. It's sad. It makes me sad.
He
And
gave
it
his
his
all literally.
he did. Yeah, his passing hit me hard and it's the same with Ozzy. It's just all of these things, I mean, I'm a huge Queen fan. When Freddie died, oh my god, forget it. Forget it. I was 20. I mean, I remember that so well. It was awful. It was awful. You just don't think that these things are gonna happen to these people.
Well, we have the luxury of watching the wonderful things happen in their lives too, though. Like, we got to watch
Yes.
Ozzy's kids grow up,
Yeah.
and, how cool is that? And, they get to do all this travel and stuff like that. It's definitely a trade-off, but, I think that MTV made their lives a lot more open and their privacy a lot less likely.
Yeah.
So, it
Yeah, for sure. Back when MTV first launched, you didn't think that it was going to evolve into what it evolved into, right? You're like, there's always gonna be
yeah.
music videos. It's always gonna be this. We're always gonna learn about new artists and new songs. I mean, and then it just evolved into something that was a joke as we got older because it's like, what are you doing? You're MTV. You don't even play music anymore.
I wish they would have definitely kept more music, but I still very much appreciate Beavis and Butthead. Like, a
Yeah.
lot of people kinda like how you say, "I don't understand some of your humor." Beavis and Butthead used to have me rolling on the ground laughing all the time.
That's
Like,
because it
it's
was a
so dumb.
hilarious show. It was funny. It was so stupid, but it was so funny. It was so funny.
Comedic genius. And
Yeah.
then,
Mike Judge is
yeah,
great.
didn't Mike Judge do Office Space?
Yes, he did. That's gonna be a whole episode of its own.
Good, because that's, like, one of my
Yeah.
favorite movies ever.
Yeah. That is an episode, I promise.
Good, because that's one of those important things too, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate that they tried to branch out and do different things, but so many times, like, good things are ruined because you lose the foundation,
Yes,
and,
that's a really
the
good way of putting it.
foundation was yeah, and the foundation was music and bringing people
Mhm.
together, and, they did a lot of good Live Aid concerts and stuff like that, like,
Mhm.
so many good things have come from MTV, but then
And
you also
being
have I was just gonna say, you also have things where, when you were talking about almost like the Survivor type shows, it's got to a point where they tried to hire people that were dramatic and it took away from the realness that I wanna appreciate from our generation.
yeah, exactly. You know, we got to see the bands that we loved go into the studios and be interviewed by some really, really wonderful VJs who just knew their shit and knew how to conduct an interview and knew how to get answers and build a rapport with the artists and bring that into your world, you know?
I think there was more respect for the artist too, because
Yeah.
now, like, paparazzi and these people interviewing just ask anything for clicks or
They
likes
just
or
ask stupid shit, and a lot of and, it's one of those things where it's like, "Why are you can you stop?" It goes back to
yeah.
the I think maybe it was our first episode where I was like, "People shouldn't be as accessible as they are, and I don't like it." I don't
Sometimes it would make me feel
I want you
better.
to keep an air of, enigma around you. I want you to still have that. I don't need to know everything about you because it makes me wanna not listen to your music. I don't want that to happen.
What was the show with Jessica Simpson, and then who was her husband? Was it Nick?
It was Nick
It
Lachey.
was like the Newlyweds.
Well, okay, I didn't watch it. I remembered I used to watch, Talk Soup
Yeah. Oh,
when
I
it was John
loved Talk
Henson
Soup.
and then Joel McHale and then Aisha Taylor, and I remember they used to play that clip all the time where she was talking about, "Is this tuna or chicken?"
Yeah. She was not playing, man. There was one time they were washing a car, and he said, "Hey, give the host some slack." And she looks up at him just confused, and she's like, "What's slack?" And I was like, "Oh, their marriage isn't gonna work."
Yeah.
Like, I just
Well,
knew it.
that's the thing, like, you put these people and you're like, "I don't wanna know how dumb they are. I don't please let me live in my own world of bliss where I think that they're smart and they can carry on a normal conversation." And MTV was like, "I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna expose them to, for how stupid they are, and we're gonna get ratings and money out of it." And, I think sometimes they were exploitative when they did that. And I'm glad that that didn't exist. That part of MTV did not exist when I was a teenager and watching it because I don't know what I would have thought. I don't wanna know that my favorite artist is dumber than a bag of hammers, you know? You don't wanna know that stuff. I just please don't let me ever find that out. It's that whole it goes along that line of never meet your heroes because they're, they might be an
'Cause
asshole
they're
or
human.
they might be dumber than a box of rocks. I don't want to know that. Please let me have that air of mystery around you.
I messed up a wonderful opportunity. I was at downtown Disney, really drunk in the bathroom, and I was sitting on the floor trying to tear the crinoline out from under my skirt because my heel got caught in it,
Oh, yeah.
and I look up and Joan Jett's standing there,
I
and
would have
she's putting her
died.
makeup on, she's in the mirror, she's putting eyeliner, and I'm looking at her and I say, "Are you?" And she just kinda chuckles and says, "Yeah." And I was like, "Awesome." And that's all I had.
Well, bye.
Yeah. And then I was at work and I was telling the story about how dumb I was and how I missed this big opportunity. And the dad of my patient called her and said, "Do you remember a girl from a couple of nights ago in the bathroom?" And she said, "I do."
Well, she's right
And so
here.
I got to talk to her on the phone for a second. But what I will say is she was so much more beautiful than I did expect in person. She
Yeah.
just looked younger
She
and
was
stronger and
Joan Jett was very pretty. I don't know what the hell she's done to her face. She looks very odd now, but I always thought she
does
was
she
very
I
pretty.
haven't seen her lately. That was
Yeah.
God,
I
that was
she did I don't
25
know if
years
she's got
ago, but
I don't know if she got filler or a plastic surgery or I don't know, but she doesn't look like her and it upsets me that she doesn't look like her anymore. It's her
that
face. She can
is
do whatever she
sad
wants
because
with
I
it, but
just
it upsets me. She was so cute. I always thought she was really pretty and extremely talented, and I loved watching her videos. I mean,
she's just that strong woman vibe, and it
yeah.
was I felt it. Like, I just was looking at her like, "Wow." And then I had
She was
nothing.
she was very much who I kind of wanted to be, although I don't play guitar. But I was just like, I just wanna be like that. That was kinda who I based a lot of my stage presence on, because she was very relatable. Lita Ford was relatable in a different way, but I wasn't gonna dress like that. I'm like, "Nope, don't have the body to pull any of that off, and that's not how I wanna dress on stage." But Lita's really super talented and really nice. I met her 5 years, 6 years ago, and, when you're a kid and you're watching videos and you're watching these people, you think they're giant. You just think they're really, really tall. She's 5'4". She's as big as I am. She's very tiny. And she's little, like, she's tiny, she's a little but man, I remember I said that, I said something, I was like, "God," I said, "When I would watch you on MTV," I said, "I would think you were, like, 5'9". She's like, "Ah," she's like, Thank you." She's like, she's like, "I'm only 5'4". But she was like, "Oh, I wish I could I wish I could hear you sing," 'cause at the time, I didn't have anything, on Spotify. She's like, "I really wish I could hear that," and you know, we weren't in a place where they're like, I'll bust into song now. Like, that's not who I am. But she was really kind and really nice. And it's just so funny when you see him in person, you're like, oh, you're a normal size human.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
you were gonna be really
It's
tall.
pretty crazy. Yeah. I went trick or treating and ended up at a boy band's house and also Creed,
Wait,
and that was kind of
no,
wild.
you gotta back up. What boy band's house did you end up at?
In sync. I
Okay.
don't know which one, but they opened the door because they were all having a Halloween party,
I don't know which one. It
and
was just NSYNC.
I don't know which one owned that house, but that was kind of wild. And Creed, it was funny because they actually invited us in for the party because we were older when we went, but
Yeah.
we were like, "No, no, we're good." And we leave, and I, like, spent 2 days trying to figure out why they looked familiar, and then then it clicked, and I was like,
Your brain was like, "Man, I don't know you. I'm not gonna go to some strange dude's house for a party. What the hell do I look like?" And then 2 days later, you're like, "Son of a bitch. That might have been fun."
"Yeah, it might have." Yeah. You know
Yeah,
what that
probably it
reminds me? I don't know if I should I won't say the name, but one of my relatives is young, and she met somebody at a bar the other night, and he said something about, "Do you wanna come over? It's gonna be snowing." And she said, "Snowing? In Florida?" And he was talking about they were gonna have cocaine there. I was like,
I
"Oh
can't
my god."
I just excuse my old person ignorance. Is cocaine really still that popular as it was in the '80s?
Yes, it is.
I have no frame of reference for this. That's why I'm asking.
Well, and I've never done it. It was prevalent in my family, and I have a memory of one of my relatives on the ground having a seizure and his wife yelling at me to put his wallet in his mouth so he wouldn't bite his tongue. So,
Yeah.
um, I won't do it. I never will, but
No, I won't
I
either.
did think it was actually awesome that she was that innocent to be like, "It snows in Florida?"
Yeah, that's cute. That's cute. I think
Yeah, and
I mean, you and I would have gotten the reference, I'm sure, but
yeah,
I would have gotten it more so back in the '80s. Like today, I'm just like, really? People are still doing cocaine? Okay. I
they
I
still
mean,
do
it's a
a
drug.
lot of
People
stuff.
people are people do drugs. I just again, it's not one that I ever got into, or ever did. But I just think that that's funny. Hey, come on back to our house. We're doing cocaine. That's not the invite you think it is, sir.
Yeah, yeah, if that's your flex, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, really. I don't know. Is there I'm sure there are people that are like, "Oh, okay," that are impressed by that. I just that's a weird pickup line in 2026.
Yeah, well, that's probably why he was at the bar single.
Yeah.
Just
I
saying.
mean, in the '80s, I know that that was very, very, very prevalent, especially in the music industry, and it was, DJs were given cocaine. Like, it was a huge thing back then. I know that. I'm not sheltered enough to think that that didn't happen, and I've heard things and stuff. Um, I just think that's a weird flex for now times.
Well, yeah, you think you learn, like, there used to be a lot of free love until they figured out about all the STDs and
Oh, the
stuff, you know?
STDs.
You would think that we evolve and hope that we evolve.
Well, you do, but, it's I'm still
They're bringing
shocked.
it back.
Yeah,
Really?
they're like, "STDs for everybody." No, keep that shit to yourself. This how bad this is how
Well,
this is how diseases come
I feel
back.
like
Stop it.
everything comes back around, like bell bottoms, certain
Yep.
music,
Well,
strawberry shortcake.
I'm waiting for '80s fashion to come back around because man, I still got stuff. Like,
Girl, I saw a bunch of scrunchies today.
I did wear my '80s jacket in New Orleans for the show because it still fits. So I was like, "No, I'm wearing that's my motorcycle jacket. I'm totally wearing that." Like, I still wear that. I still wear that.
I think jean jackets are coming back.
You think they are?
I do.
I had a stonewashed one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I had a
There was
black
a kid on
stonewashed
my
one.
bus, this poor kid on my bus, I don't think he had very much money, and he took markers, and he got a jean jacket, and he, like, decorated the back and wrote Metallica, only he spelled it Meat-tallica, M-E-A-T.
No,
Yeah,
no,
and every time he stood up
no.
to get off the bus, we were dying laughing, and, older me would go buy him a new actual jacket or something just because I felt bad, but
Fix this, you're dumb.
yeah, Metallica. Yeah. I can't see a acid wash jean jacket without, like, seeing that saying.
Yeah, do you remember the patches that we would put across the back of them of bands?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, I
and the
remember that.
buttons.
I had I had a shit ton of buttons on mine. We're getting
Flair.
way off topic of MTV, but it's just things that we think about
I
in the
don't know,
course
they wore
of.
Flair on MTV.
Yeah, they did, but it's just one of those things where, like, we were talking about this, and then it naturally kinda
Yeah.
takes you down this path. It was part of fashion. It was you'd see your favorite artist wearing whatever, and you're like, "I'm gonna wear a headband because that's what they wore," or, "I'm gonna wear this because that's how they wear this," or, "I'm gonna wear my hair like this for this reason," and, I had the leather fringe jacket that John Bon Jovi had. Everybody had that. That was a cool ass jacket at the time. Now it's laughable. Now it's like, "What the hell? What the hell? There's fringe all over it." That's so annoying.
Oh,
I
I
had a
wore the
jacket like that.
shoulder pads.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Those were
remember
awful.
I remember the shoulder pads and,
The big hoop
for
earrings.
yeah. Well,
And then when I got older, you didn't wear any of those?
I had hoop earrings, but they weren't like the big giant ones.
When I got older, I heard the bigger the hoop, the bigger the hoe. And then I quit wearing them because I heard that saying.
You're like, "Well, time to not wear these anymore."
Yeah, not
Like,
today.
I have hoop earrings. I had them then, I have them now, but they're not I know the kind you're talking about, and the only reason I would say that I probably didn't wear them is that I have very sensitive ears, like, I have to have a very specific kind of metal, like, if I wear really cheap when I would wear really cheap earrings, oh, my ears hurt so bad, it would yeah, so I had to be really careful about what I wear, which is good because then I couldn't just go spend my money on bullshit earrings because I knew I would pay for it later, and I always did every time. I'd be like, "But they're so cute," and I'd buy them, I'd be like, "Son of a bitch." Damn it, my ear hurts my
Yeah.
ears hurt really bad. I
I
remember
remember
selling
going
the
to
hell out of those,
Claire's.
though.
Did you have Claire's Boutique? That's where I
Oh, of
got my
course we
ears
did.
pierced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I worked at Spencer's in the mall when I was a teenager, and we pierced ears too. And
Yeah.
I remember piercing ears, and I was like, "I am 16 years old, and I am piercing this kid's ears. Get the fuck out of here." There was no
Yeah. And watch it.
there was no legislation around that. It was just like, "Here's how you do it. Here's the ear piercing gun." Like, we were fine. You're 16. I am piercing the
Yeah.
ears
And
of a
how many were
six-year-old.
not straight or crooked or.
Oh god, the anxiety I used to feel when I would mark their ears because we had a marker you'd put the dots in. The anxiety I would feel to make sure that I got those things even. Oh my god. Oh my god. I was like, "I don't wanna fuck this up. I don't want this kid's 6." I mean, and I remember we were doing an ear piercing on a little girl who's probably 4 or 5, and we shot the gun into the one ear, got her ear pierced, and she screamed bloody murder. I was like, "Alright, well, I'm done. Like, if you wanna do the other one, somebody else is gonna have to do the other side because I am that is really loud and piercing, and she
Tapping
is
out.
crying." Yeah, I'm like, "I'm done. Somebody else has to finish this job."
Do you remember for MTV, Boy George and George Michael and all that thing was a
Yeah.
thing, but I remember them making a big deal out of it. I don't even remember which one now, but it was like if you had the wrong ear pierced, you were gay. Like
It
that
was
was like a big.
I believe it was if your ear was pierced on the right side, if your
Yeah,
right
I
ear was
just remember
pierced, and I don't
that
know where
being
that
a
even yeah, I don't
thing.
even know where that even came from. I have no idea
I
who
don't
started
either.
it or
And
how
it's
or yeah.
well, I mean, it takes from history because they used to have prostitutes were the ones that wore anklets, and that was the way to show that they were a prostitute.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure there's some kind of meaning behind it, but looking back, it's like so dumb because
I know.
who cares what ear is pierced or if you're gay, but um,
But you're
I don't care
you're a
either way.
kid. You're a kid, like, I remember I loved Adam Ant, and I loved watching his videos, and he was really hot back then, I remember that too, but I remember he would dress up, he had the paint, like, he had the war paint, like the Revolutionary War,
Yeah.
and I loved his outfits. Loved his outfit. That would not be something I could ever pull off ever, but, like, I loved that aesthetic. I loved that look that he had. It was so cool. It was so cool.
I wanted to shave the side of my head like Cyndi Lauper. She did a crisscross pattern or
Yes.
something on
Yeah.
the side of her head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't do it, but I really wanted to back
Did
then.
your mom said no?
Yeah, she said, "No way, Jose."
That is not
And
happening
then
under this roof.
yeah, and then I wanted a blue stripe in my hair. I don't know where I got that from, but I eventually did that one. And the cutting a little slit in the eyebrows.
Vaguely remember that.
Do you? Maybe
Yeah,
that was more like
I don't remember what year that trend started. I don't remember
I'm gonna
seeing that
guess
on
like 90.
were there videos? Were there people on MTV videos who had their There's
Yeah, but it was
eyebrow
probably
like
more
that?
like the rap stuff that I liked, so that's
Yeah.
probably
Oh, okay. Well, that
why.
I mean, yeah, okay, okay.
But, I also remember everybody doing the emo type look with the black lipstick and lots of eyeliner and black
Yeah.
hair and
Well, that's
I
the
don't know,
thing.
it was
You
kind of
you
fun.
you would see whether it was the artist in the video that was dressed like that or the video itself that was the aesthetic of it, and you would try to duplicate it.
Yeah,
Because
and
that
it's
was the fashion. That was what you're like, "Okay, well, I saw this in this video, so I'm gonna wear this, or I'm gonna try to get this because this is obviously what's in fashion."
well, and it's like what you like or what you relate to.
Yeah.
So, I wish I had more video of the parking lot when I was in high school of people in different styles and so separated, but
Oh,
at
yeah.
the
Well,
same
yeah.
time,
It's it's so
as
funny that you say
adults,
that
we're all
because
friends.
we did that too. We had the one parking lot with the one area on Route 28 that was these kids, which was, like, me, and it was, like, I don't wanna say the burnouts because that's not the word I'm wanting to use. It was more of we like this kinda music, and we dress this way, and then you had another parking lot, like, half a mile down the street that was, like, for the jock crowd and the cheerleaders and, like, the again, I don't wanna say goody goodies because that's not at all, but I'm trying to describe the type of person you would see in each parking lot.
Did you, like, blast music too? I remember speakers got to be really big when I was in high school.
Yeah, we did, and what we would a lot of them they would take an MTV style, like, playlist, they'd hear it on MTV, and then
Yeah,
they'd make a mixtape of that, yeah. It was I mean, MTV walks so the internet could run. The MTV was a predecessor to the internet, I will stand on that ground, because you have this channel only did this, but now YouTube is like, "Hey, we also do this and also a bunch of this stuff too." And like I said, back then, it made our rock stars accessible, and
yeah,
it made them seem more human. It made them seem like, "Oh, okay, I feel." I don't wanna say I don't wanna say I feel close to them, that's not the word I'm trying to reach for. It was more of I feel like you had more of a bond. You felt like you had more of a bond to them because
yeah.
they were not just singing a song, they were making a video, and they were making that video for their fans.
Yeah, I think that the improved accessibility has kind of ruined us as a society, though,
Yes, I
because
agree.
with MTV, you got exposed to a lot of different things because nothing else was on and you wanted it
Mhm.
on that channel. So you
Right.
discover so many things. Now it's just a generation of consumption and you can get all of the information you want about one thing and in your brain that's right and that's perfect and that's the only thing it is
Yeah.
because you don't really discover the other stuff because there's so much easily accessible with your mindset or your like that it just kind of makes you not get the other information or other songs or other videos in because
Yeah.
I would tell you I don't love ZZ Top, but then I'll watch their videos or hear a song and I'm like, oh my God, I love ZZ Top.
Yeah, I
So
would tell you the same thing. I'd be like, "Well, I'm not really a fan of ZZ Top," and then every single time Sharp Dressed Band comes on, I'd be like, "Hell yeah, I love this song." Like, it's just
exactly. So I think that the MTV was a predecessor to all of this social media and YouTube and everything else, and I think it has a lot of wonderful points, but I wish that some of the stuff wasn't so accessible so we would have more variety and more
Yeah.
openness and thought processes.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just again, I feel like we're really lucky to have grown up in that generation that got to experience MTV for what MTV was and for what MTV did for music.
Absolutely, and just the gravity of how important it was and how important it
Mhm.
felt and how
Yeah.
you wanted to be part of it. It
Yep.
just
And
felt like
how
a community.
and how it would introduce new artists too. They didn't just go, "No, we only play established stuff." They used to do a contest, it was called the Basement Tapes, where it would be bands who were unsigned would submit music videos to MTV, and then the viewers would vote on who was the best. And they were pretty groundbreaking in that regard, but I did always like that, they weren't always playing the top 10 or the top 100 songs. They were playing the videos for what they had video for. Whether it was a chart topper or not, you still got to hear it. So you'd always get to hear something that you would maybe you were discovering that song from that artist for the first time, right? Like you didn't have their album, but you're like, "Well, I know this song." And all of a sudden they'd play something else, you'd be like, "Oh, that's a good song. I really like
I
that song.
remember in the middle of the night, they would play things that weren't as popular too,
Yes.
so you would get more of a variety. So I remember sometimes just late at night trying to watch it just to discover new stuff.
Yeah. And they'd play the more risque stuff at night too, because 'cause they're like, "We can't play this before 9 p.m." And you're like, "Okay." It's lame by today's standards for sure, but back then there were standards and practices, I guess.
So refresh my memory because you are a little bit ahead of me, but Max Headstrom, was
Headroom.
that started on MTV? That's right. Was he started on MTV? Because I remember thinking how cool he was, and it was like a robot, but was that MTV related?
I don't think so. If memory serves, and again, if I'm wrong, please correct me in our Facebook group, and as I know you will. I think Max Headroom started out as a Coca-Cola spokes robot or spokes thing. I think that that is how Max Headroom started.
I just think of him like when I think of MTV for some reason, so I didn't know if
Well,
it was related.
I think that they played as everything in society as it gets immersed into, you know, our psyche and it gets popular. I think everything kinda comes into, "Oh, that's popular, we'll put it on an MTV commercial." Because I do remember it being an MTV commercial.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I do remember that, but I think he started out as a Coca-Cola spokes thing. I think he started out as a Coca-Cola commercial. Again, I'm not 100%, I'm basing that on memory, but I mean, I
And it
certainly
was a lot of
remember.
years ago.
Yeah, I mean, and I certainly remember Max Headroom. I mean, it was so weird. The character was so weird. It didn't even make any sense.
But isn't it weird how, like, the past comes into the future? Like, now you have AI that reminds you of that,
Yeah.
and Terminator was way above its time. Like, now we
Yeah.
have all this AI, our computer's gonna take over the world. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy how many things from our generation have come to fruition, and
Mhm.
it's kinda neat.
It
I
is,
thought we'd have
and
flying cars by now, though. Back to the
God,
Future, we should have flying
I'm
cars.
glad we don't. People can't drive on the road. We don't need them in the air. We do not need them in the air. Let's leave the airplanes to the air, leave the cars on the ground. Now we have platforms like YouTube who took MTV's idea and said, "Cool, let's give it to everyone on Earth immediately," which is great. You can, like I said,
Yeah.
Julie, if you want to go find that Van Halen video, it's ridiculous. It's so stupid, and
I'm gonna watch it.
I do not know how David Lee Roth got the rest of the band to go with it, and I can guarantee you that was a David Lee Roth Vanity Project video. I can guarantee it because of the video. I don't know how he got the rest of them to go with it. I'm gonna say drugs. Just what I'm gonna say off the top of my head, because everybody was hammered. It's so bad. It doesn't even make any damn sense to go with the song. But anyway, so you can go see that on YouTube. And any of the things we're talking about, you could go find those 2 MTV Christmas songs that I was talking about, the Billy Squier one and the Bryan Adams ones, and only because those are the 2 that I remember off the top of my head. And in the same regard that MTV could make a radio star into a star, a bad video could kill them too. And everybody knows that Billy Squier, uh, Rock Me Tonight video absolutely destroyed his career. It's a terrible video. It's an awful video. It never should have been made. I don't know why he agreed to it. It's awful. It absolutely destroyed that man's career. And Billy Squier's talented. He's a great songwriter. He's a great singer. Like, he's extremely talented. That video should not have destroyed his career. It absolutely did. It absolutely did. So,
So I'm trying to remember it. Is that the one where he was in the pink tank top?
yes, yes.
I understand.
Yep. Oh, yeah, that tracks. That makes sense. It did. It absolutely destroyed his career.
I
It's
didn't know it destroyed
It's
his career, but
unfortunate. It's really unfortunate because, like, Billy
yeah.
Squier, his videos, I mean, and his songs, he was like a dude's dude. Like, he just was. And then he made this video, and you're like, "What? This makes me uneasy. I'm very uncomfortable watching this." I mean, I remember watching it going, "I'm very uncomfortable right now." I don't know why I'm uncomfortable, but I'm very uncomfortable with this video. It was so awful. It was so awful.
I
It's
I
the
thought
video it's the
certain
very first
videos were
video that
too
ever gave
much.
me douche chills.
Yeah. I kinda thought that with Beyoncé when she did Drunken Love, or, I didn't like the video for Britney Spears doing Toxic either. I don't know. Sometimes it seems like people are trying too hard, and that's
Yeah,
when I don't really feel like, I like authentic and real and not a
yeah.
showman.
Yeah,
So,
I don't I
everybody
mean,
has their own taste.
yeah, well, that's what I mean when I say showman, and I was fairly certain that that video for Van Halen was driven by David Lee Roth, and it's so bad. I don't know anybody who's like, "Oh, that's a great video." It's an awful fucking video. It's terrible. And you should
I'm
all
gonna watch
go
it.
you should all go to YouTube if you've never seen it and go find it and watch it right now and go, "Holy shit, this is wow, is this bad?" It's so bad. Um, but, MTV didn't actually kill the radio star. Radio's still here. It is. It's most of it's crap. But anyway, it changed what it meant to be a star. It absolutely skyrocketed some and jettisoned others. And it was about the moment when you saw it. And if you grew up in that era, you know it wasn't just about the music. So I think on that note, we'll go ahead and we'll end this episode. I know we've gone long, but MTV is such a big part of our generation. So if you enjoyed this, share it with somebody who remembers when MTV actually played music, or someone who wouldn't believe you if you told them that.
Or who just thinks that it's awesome for Beavis and Butthead and Cornholio.
Yes. Yes, that everybody still quotes to this day. Everybody. My dad even quotes it, for God's sake. And my dad is 84, and my dad will still do it. So
Beavis and Butthead, I like your dad.
yes. He'll do the cornholio. He'll do the I need TP for
Or my
like
bunghole.
he will do that
Yeah.
with him and Eric will do it. Yeah. And my brother.
That's
All three of them.
beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Do we have a song list for MTV?
Do have a song list for MTV. These are the first 10 videos that were played, and I'm gonna go backwards from
That's
10
what
to
she
1.
said.
Actually, no, I'm gonna go 1 through 10 because that's how they would played them. This isn't a top 10 list. So number 1, as
Okay.
we've already covered, was "Video Killed the Radio Star" by the Buggles. Number 2 was "You Better Run" by Pat Benatar, and I can see that
I
in my head
love that
now.
song.
I can see that video in my head. I mean, as I said it, I'm like, "Yep, I can see it." Number 3 was "She Won't Dance With Me" by Rod Stewart. I don't remember that video at all.
I
Number
don't either.
4 was "You Better You Bet" by The Who. I remember the song, I don't remember the video.
I don't remember the video, but I like the song.
Yeah. Number 5 was "Little Susie's on the Up" by PhD, later covered
I
by
don't know it.
Tesla. If you probably know the Tesla version if you know either of the versions, but yeah, Tesla redid it and did it better. Again, just my opinion. Number 6 was "We Don't Talk Anymore" by Cliff Richard.
I like it.
Cliff Richard just reminds me of the young ones, and it just reminds me of Rick sitting at the table with the rest of them arguing with Vivian about who likes about Cliff Richard because Rick loved Cliff Richard, and that was the whole thing. That's what Richard just reminds me of Rick from the young ones. Number 7 was "Brass in Pocket" by the Pretenders, which is a
I
good
don't.
song. I'm not really a huge Pretenders fan, but I like that song for some reason. It's pretty good. Number 8, "Time Heals" by Todd Rundgren. Don't know that song and certainly don't remember the video.
I don't either.
Yeah. Number 9 was "Take It on the Run" by REO Speedwagon.
Love it.
I love it. I had that album. I remember I brought it to school and somebody stole it.
Oh,
They
shit.
stole it. They stole it right out of my locker. I was like 11.
If you're
And
listening, fuck
They
you, thief.
stole it out of they stole it out of my fucking locker. Piece of shit. And I'm not bitter about that at all. And number 10, the 10th video they played was "Rockin' the Paradise" by Styx, which was a good song.
Awesome.
I loved Styx. Yeah. I
Last
loved
but
Styx.
not least.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, this was a fun episode. A lot lighter than the Challenger episode, but
Yeah.
both
Well,
important.
you gotta have a balance, right? You gotta balance it.
Yep. So thank you for tuning in. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.